Hello, my friends. How are you? I hope you're doing very, very well on this wonderful Tuesday evening, afternoon while I'm recording. It's a beautiful October day here in Canada. I hope that you're having a beautiful day. My name is Mariah. If you haven't seen any of my videos before, welcome. If you have, a very, very warm welcome back. So happy to have you back. And today, I'm going to talk about a topic that was suggested to me by a very dear friend of mine. She requested that I talk about how to spot people who are under the influence of the Demiurge and his Archons. And I think that that is a great thing to talk about because it's very important to identify who these people are, because the Demiurge and the Archons only work through humans. So, great idea for my friend. I will include her YouTube link below. She also does great videos, more hypnosis, but she's amazing. And I thought that it was a wonderful topic to go over because we have a choice whether we let the Demiurge and the Archons in or not, whether we let them make decisions through us and act through us or not. We as humans are that special, truly. So if you haven't seen any of my videos before and you're new to the Gnostic cosmology, welcome. I will include some videos and links below for you to explore some of my previous videos just going on the origin of humanity, as well as links to Mr. John Lamb Lash's work, pioneer in this field of putting together the Nag Hammadi Codices with other comparative mythology and really pulling apart the juice of it and getting to a really wonderful story that when you learn, it becomes alive in your life. And that's how you know that there's truth there, that it's not just, another story given to us to mislead us. It's something that becomes alive in your life and you get to engage with. You get to engage with the Gaia-Sophia, who is here as our planet Earth. Now, I'm not going to get into the full story because I do have a lot of videos about that. And if I go into it, I will just be talking for forever. But essentially, the Gaia-Sophia made humanity with her male counterpart, Aeonic counterpart. These are Aeon creative beings that created humanity and make other creations, and they exist in the core of our galaxy, and they send out their creations through the core, the pleroma, into, for us, the Milky Way galaxy, through to the galaxy. And for the purposes of our story, it's important to know that Sophia, the Gaia-Sophia, was really concerned about humanity's chance for survival because we had not made it several times, and being the mother of our species, she wants us to survive, right? And also being just a creative force that is even beyond what we can imagine, because you and I as humans, we can manifest, yes, but that power was given to us by the Aeons, so they have it just exponentially. So when Sophia was daydreaming for a solution for her designer species, as John Lamb Lash calls it, to survive, this creative force of her compelled her out of the galactic core, out of the pleroma, and into the Milky Way galaxy. Like literally her daydreaming body, it's important to remember that it's a daydream, creative imagination, fell into the Milky Way galaxy. And because she did this imagining without her male counterpart, as soon as she went through the membrane of the pleroma from the galactic core into our galaxy, she accidentally sent like an offshoot of basically the deficiency of not having a male counterpart. She kind of created like an anti-male, basically. And it's described in the text as an aborted fetus type thing, which is crazy. And there's really wonderful descriptions. I'll include a link to a PDF of the book that I'm talking about, the Nag Hammadi Codices, that were basically like deleted from the original Bible, and they tried to hide it, but then it was found. And they basically say that, you know, this being came from her, so he had a semblance of her power, but he was blind to where he came from, blind to who made him, and thought that he was the only one. He was jealous. He made a little retinue of beings that, like worker bees, that would do his work, that are called the Archons. And now he is referred to as the Demiurge. You'll find in the text he's referred to as Yadalbaoth. I like to call him by his mainstream name, Yahweh, Jehovah, you know, that guy, the Old Testament God, who really is like an ancient Hebrew tribal god of lightning and war, essentially. You can find that in other sources. Is this accidental creation that Sophia made as she was compelled out of the Pleroma on her way to becoming our planet Earth. So that was her journey. It's more complicated than that, obviously. I do have other videos talking about it, and I do highly encourage you to check out Mr. John Lamb Lash's work, because it's pivotal and amazing. And if you have an academic background like me, you'll really love all of his sourcing and all of his footnotes and stuff like that. So I'd recommend you check out his work for sure. But that is why the Demiurge exists, because Sophia fell into this experiment and it was not intended. He was not intended. He's basically a mistake. and you know, and even her being here as Earth is technically a mistake. And I think in the texts, it's either in the text or from John Lamb Lash's work, it's called an anomaly. Like they just call it like just an anomaly after an anomaly after an anomaly. And you know, if you're like me and you have this Christian background, you're thinking, oh, why would our creator do anything that wasn't perfect? Maybe there's no such thing as perfect. Maybe even our creators can make mistakes and can do things in a way that are not anticipated, and it is really just an experiment. And I have a video about that as well. And the whole point of knowing Sophia, knowing Gaia-Sophia, who is here as our planet Earth, is to correct our mistakes and to follow our own moral compass that was given to us by the aeons, that we don't need a Bible to tell us, that we don't need Mr. Christ dying on a cross telling us that we have to go through him to have any goodness or morality. It's just not true. It's innate in humanity. However, Mr. Demiurge and his little archons do their best to hijack that moral compass. They do their best to hijack anything that they can that has to do with us, because humans were created with intention, with, you could call it love, I guess. Care, I think, is love in action, with all of these wonderful traits to express and to experience as humans. We were given all of the gifts that we currently have, our connection to nature, our connection to supernature, our intuition, our dreams, all these wonderful things. And sorry, I held my own spit. The Demiurge was not made with this intention. He was a complete freak accident. And because of that difference, because humanity was intended, and technically we have the same mother, he is envious of humanity. And I emphasize, and this is from John Lamb Lash too, this was really pivotal for me to understand, is that it's not jealousy. Because jealousy, I think, is kind of natural to experience. It's, oh, this person has something that I want. Oh my God, I want that for me too. You know, that's what jealousy is somebody has something and you also want it for yourself. You want to experience your own version of it. But envy is wanting that other person to not have it, so that only you can have it. And that's how the Demiurge feels. We're gonna make sure these don't bust up. That is how the Demiurge feels towards humans, because of how we were created and how he was not created on that same wavelength at all. He was an absolute mistake. Sophia tried to get rid of him when he said, I'm the only one and there will be no other but me. She tried to be like, okay, you go over here. I'm busy falling through space, about to become a planet. Can't deal with you right now. And that just made him angrier. And that is what really set the Demiurge's heart into motion, that his mission is basically to take away any semblance of humanity from humans, essentially. Now, the Archons are interesting because like they're basically his worker bees, and you'll find, interestingly enough, that the number 7 is kind of their calling card. There are 7 main Archons. I don't know them by name, and we have 7 major other planets kind of around Earth. And, you know, we have 7 days of the week that keep us in this time schedule, you know, and 7 archangels, archons, you know. So he made these 7 archons that I do also believe created their own litany of like little worker bees, essentially. To like their only mission is to derail humanity from basically knowing themselves, knowing their planet as the creator goddess that made them, and knowing their full potential as humans, knowing our full potential as humans. That's the goal of the Demiurge and the Archons. The goal is not to like necessarily destroy the planet, although I'm sure they wouldn't mind, but the goal is to stop humans from being like reaching their maximum potential. And they're not cut from the same cloth. They are not made from the same things as humans. They are not meant to be on Earth. They do not have the, I want to call it biological, but they're not really biological. They don't have the capabilities to breathe oxygen. They physically cannot be on this planet unless maybe they're in suits. And maybe that's why we see ancient alien stuff of these guys in suits. Maybe that's a thought that I've had before. But regardless, their main method of control to humans is attacking our psyche. I talked about this in my last video, the dream video. That's the one that my friend commented on and say, can I talk a little bit more about what this looks like actually in humans? And you know, the way that they get us is by attacking our psyche, because they don't need to be right in front of us to do that. They can send frequencies, and they do. If you've ever read or looked into David Icke's work, Ike? I forget how you say his name. I think it's just Ike. He does identify Saturn as, I'm pretty sure he does, as sending these harmful frequencies to planet Earth. And you know, you'll see that there's a lot of Saturn worship in Hollywood. You'll see that there's black sun references, or you know, there's a time reference when Saturn was the sun. If you've ever looked into electric universe theory, you know, there is this cult of Saturn, which is the cult of the Demiurge, because he makes these promises to humans that he's going to give you all the material fulfillment that you could ask for, all the money, all the fame, you know, all the attention and stuff like that, because the human on the other end thinks that it's going to fill the void that they need filled, but it never does. But you know, the Demiurge and the Archons can provide superficial things that aren't truly fulfilling, like, you know, I don't know, flashy things. Like, money is great. Yes, we all love money, but we know that money is not entirely how you become happy. Like, yes, you need stability for sure, but if you're not stable to begin with, you're not gonna be able to keep your money. And you're just, you know, you're gonna spend it all and just be right back where you came from. And you know, that is also another goal of the Demiurge, is to make us slaves within his system, within his money system, in the system that we're in now, that we're literally captured in the 7 days a week. And you know, the 9 to 5 work life and that kind of stuff is just to keep us in a box. And you'll see, you go to Mecca and they're circling the box, worshiping it. You'll see Orthodox Jewish people with the box on their forehead, worshiping it, you know, and there's the cube on Saturn. You know, I even have a cube tattoo. Oh, well, I got that a while ago. But anyways, the point is how you can tell when somebody is under the control of the Demiurge, because since the Demiurge and the Archons can't be here, they have to work through humans to continue to corrupt humans. And if you're watching this, I'm sure that's no surprise to you. We know that there's really fucked up stuff going on in the world. And I do point that and pin it back to demiurgic and archontic control, because there are instances of stuff that we're seeing in the news, fear from the media, like general distrust between humans, of thinking that you don't have any moral compass on your own, that that's not a gift that you were originally given. And that is all the frequencies being sent to humans that we're picking up on from the Demiurge and the Archons, and they exist in the frequencies of fear, of paranoia, of anxiety, of if you have a law of attraction background, anything low vibrational, it are the frequencies that are being sent to humans to get us to continue to operate on that lower level, so we don't wake up and realize that we actually can just kind of opt out of that. So I have a couple notes again here. So kind of like I have like lesser and greater here. So on like the lower end, you know, the like not as huge of a threat to humanity of archontic and demiurgic influence is, you know, people who are just stuck in paranoia, people who are stuck in a fear-based state of thinking that somebody's always out to get them, that, you know, that the other shoe is going to drop, that something really bad to them is going to happen. And that's the easiest access point for the Demiurge and the Archons, is for them to send you these frequencies of fear and paranoia and anxiety and distrust, and for you to stay there, and then you continue to push out that frequency and you send it to other people that might be receptive to that. So it's like they send you a signal and you're just sending that signal to other people as well. You know, that's kind of what they do. They work through us because we have to be the medium to transmit those messages at all. So that's why everything on the media is so scary. That's why I'm not saying all movies, but a lot of movies are designed to keep us in that anxious and paranoid state, so that we don't think we have any control. You know, we think that if it's not like the boogeyman coming to get us, then it's the powers that be that are coming to get us. You know, that there's nowhere that's safe. We don't have any choice. You know, that's how you know that somebody is under, the control of the Archons. And it's like physically, you can also see it. You know, when somebody's vibe is just so low and you can just look at them and you see a darkness, that's demiurgic archontic control for sure. It's that lower vibrational ickiness, or, you know, somebody who is just always arguing with you, somebody who is not sure of themselves ever. I'm not saying you always need to be sure of yourself, but just always second guessing everything that you do is also anxiety. It's also keeping you in that fear-based state. Somebody who maybe can never be healthy, or for some reason there's always, you know, something wrong with their health, or even their day or their job, or somebody, you know, that complains a lot, is easy pickings for the Archons and the Demiurge. That's where they want you. They want you to be in a state of feeling like you're not in control of anything that's going on. There is basically, if there is a higher power, then he's already judging you and you're sinful and disgusting. And you have to repent and you have to wash and you have to blah, 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 because how you are right now is sinful. Like, that is also prime pickings for the Demiurge, you know? And if you'll remember my little wink at the beginning, the Demiurge, Dabaoth, saying that you'll have no other gods but me, I'm a jealous god, right away. Like, that's, you know, that's the Old Testament God, and that is who a lot of people are following, and that's who a lot of people are receiving instruction from. And the instruction basically is that you're never good enough. You're never good enough. Also, remember what I said at the beginning, that that's what the Demiurge wants you to believe and feel, is from that envy, that anything that you have will never be good enough, because like him, he wants you to be like him. You were created, sorry, I got an itch. You were created by an accident, sheer mistake, and, you know, nothing's gonna go right for you, and blah, 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 you know, because he's in that position and he wants to bring us down, literally down to that level. Now, you know, that's the day-to-day stuff where you can tell that somebody's under the influence of the demiurgic, archontic. Some people might use the word demonic. I would say archontic. I think it's the same thing. And, you know, and then people say, oh, that they're having abduction dreams of gray aliens and stuff like that. Like, no, those are still archons. You know, they have all these names and all these different, like, identities that people have given them. But when you boil it down, it comes down to the same beings that have been identified in the Gnostic teachings and the texts as these beings that are actively working against humanity, simply to work against humanity, simply to take away humanity from the humans, basically, because we were made with intention. We are the humans of light, is what we're called in the texts, and we have such power and intention, and we have the ability to power share with our planet in a way that is unmatched, and the demiurge could never, that he is so envious he doesn't want us to experience that. And even Sophia, like in the text, she was like willing to let him go do his thing and be like, yeah, just go, like, make your little stuff, like whatever, just don't bother me, I'm busy, you know, I'm busy taking care of my humans, please leave me alone. And he didn't. He continued to push those boundaries. And, you know, that's another huge thing that you'll notice with people who are under archontic control, is they will continue to push your boundaries. You know, I don't know if you're really strong at boundaries or not, but it doesn't matter. They will continue to push boundaries that you've set, or even like invisible boundaries of you just needing your own time to be your own human. Or, you know, if, say, you're in your job and your boss is like going crazy and freaking out and staying in this low vibration where like things aren't really working out for them anyways, and then they try to drag you into it, it's like, no, like I don't want to be there. Like, it's not that serious, you know? But it's very easy for us to slip into that frequency, for us to essentially fall into the frequency of fear and paranoia, and thinking that we're not worthy is huge, thinking that we can't do anything about our circumstance, thinking that we don't have any intentional power or creative forces, that's all outside of us. That's exactly what the Abrahamic religions want you to believe, that there's nothing within you, that you can do all these things on your own unless you invite them into your heart. Like, it's already there, you know? And by perpetualizing that mainstream religion, the Abrahamic religions that follow the demiurge, that follow Yahweh, like they're under Yahweh's influence, who is the demiurge, who is envious of humans, it's essentially like, you just like, I get this visual all the time of just spinning your wheels, following like a fucking donkey. No offense to donkeys. Donkeys are great animals, but just following this circle of literally going nowhere. And that's exactly what the Demiurge wants. That's exactly what the Archons are intending in every moment of fear put in your body, shitty food and chemicals that you're eating and you don't even know, and just sending the baseline frequencies of fear all the time. And, you know, it's not necessary for us to tune into it, which I think is the most important part of this video for people to understand. I'm trying to think of like other examples of what somebody under Archontic control would act like. Maybe perhaps erratic, perhaps basically like anything that is not grounded, which is the paranoia, the fear, the anxiety, the thinking that somebody's like around the corner, like out to get them. Because if you're being sent these frequencies of fear by the Demiurge and the Archons, like technically they kind of are out to get you. Technically they kind of are out to get all humans, but that doesn't mean that you're trapped by them, that you have no power, that you have to go along with it. Essentially, we don't have to, and that's the most powerful part of being a human. And you know, at the higher level, then you know we see that humans do horrific things to each other that you can't justify, at all, and say like, oh, you know, this happened to them and that's why they're perpetuating it, or you know, their money just went to their head and blah blah blah. It's like, no, there are people that are at the top end of the fucking crazy pyramid that do rituals to contact and invoke demons, archons, who will make agreements with them that say, okay, listen, this is huge in music, by the way, this is enormous. So an agreement might look like, okay, you as an artist, as, you know, a creative singer or whatever, musician, part of the deal is that you're going to put subliminal messaging in your music that has, you know, maybe the name of the Archon, or some sort of like negative affirmation, or some sort of like trigger, an audible trigger that is going to be put in your music. And the agreement is that once that's done, and that's in the song or in the music or whatever, that the other half of the agreement is the Archon, the demon on the other end, is like, okay, I'm going to, you know, once this starts to get out, I'm going to make sure that the other people that I'm working with who are at these top levels continue to promote your music, and you make so much money so that there's more influence, one, for the musician, but mostly there's more influence for the demon or the Archon, because it's really their subliminal messaging that's getting out to the ears of humans everywhere, even if you don't want it. It could be, you know, in a store where you're shopping. It could be friggin' anywhere. And that agreement is made. Those agreements are real. They happen, and they've happened for a long time. It's pretty freaking normal. And you know, I was listening to a Mysterious Universe podcast that really stuck with me, and essentially it's like this guy on his deathbed kind of confessed to a bunch of stuff where he said he started to go to seances, which I don't necessarily think seances are bad. I think you can contact spirits that are, you know, maybe do want to help you or move you forward, but he segued from seances into group meetings where they would do ritual work specifically to invoke demons. And he said that, you know, he was like, the rich and the powerful are all here. It's like the biggest names are all here. Now, this was a while ago when he experienced and was involved in these sorts of things, maybe the 60s or something, I don't know. And he, you know, he just kind of said what a lot of people already know, that there are agreements made so that Archons who work for the Demiurge, demons, can continue to have more and more influence by sending out further frequencies via keywords, via trigger words, via literal frequencies maybe that might be included in the music, via backwards messages. And when we as humans agree to do that and continue to send it out in our music in this example, then that kind of hypnotizes masses of people to listen to that music and then listen to that Archon demon's name that continues to give them power. And then, you know, that original musician gains more power, notoriety, and money, and then it goes back and forth like that. Like that's, you know, that's the purpose of the agreement. But that's a very clear example of how and, you know, why they need to work through humans, because they can't just put a song on the radio. Like they need a human to make the music, and they will put their own little messages in there, and so that they basically cast a really wide net and continue to scoop up other people just by, you know, you listen to the song and it sends a frequency, and then it puts that person into a state of mania for no reason, or a state of depression for no reason, or a state of paranoia for no reason. But the reason is that there's this subliminal messaging that we see that in movies all the time, in TV shows all the time. It's all of this media is their greatest access point, because not only can they send us just, you know, frequencies in our dreams and in our psyches and stuff like that, but the biggest thing is sending it through media, you know, and media is so huge these days that you can't really avoid it. Now, I'm not saying everybody does this, but the billionaires do. They make these pacts, these agreements with demons who are the same thing as archons, and that's how they stay in power, by continuing to promote this like dark hypnosis of humanity. Now, I don't think hypnosis is a bad thing, obviously. I think hypnosis is a tool, and it can be used to do really great things for people. But because it's a tool, and a really effective tool, it can also be used to do shitty things to humanity. And the more power and influence that you have, the more you can send out a message that won't be picked up by the lay person. And then, you know, that person doesn't know that they're listening to this message, but they unconsciously want to spend more money and give more money to this certain artist. They unconsciously, you know, might become incredibly materialistic and find that nothing is fulfilling to them, and it, you know, they lose their humanity in that way. The point of the Demiurgic and the Archontic control is not to like I said, it's not to capture the whole planet. It's not to capture all the money. It's not to like do all those things that matter to us as humans. It's to take away anything that matters to us as humans. So we kind of decide what they target. Basically, you know, they target relationships. Right now, you know, you see that there's an emphasis on you know, new sorts of relationships, or changing your body all the time, that whatever you are as human right now isn't good enough and you have to change. And, you know, that can even just be a subliminal message that comes in music, or maybe it was a subliminal message in the 80s and the 90s, and you were born into your mother who was listening to this music all the time, and now you were born from her and you feel like you're uncomfortable in your body and you hate being a human and blah blah blah. Like, that's what they want. They want you to not want to be human. They want you to not want to fucking touch grass and understand that your planet is there for you and can hold you and has the capacity to expand your life even in a material way. Your planet can do that as well, but it's not necessarily, you know, making billions of dollars and, you know, just having it and not doing anything with it and not putting it back into the economy, just, you know, creating a higher and higher net worth, which it's not even, I don't think it's bad even to be a millionaire, you know, but like billions, come on, like that's a lot of money to not just be like putting it back into something and benefiting countries, because with billions you can benefit countries that really need it, you know. And you'll find that people who are under the Demiurgic and Archontic control will consume so much, like so much energy, so many things, so much stuff, and never feel full because they're not getting to the root of the problem. They're not accessing, you know, the main deep issue that's usually in the root chakra of feeling like you deserve to be here, of feeling like you're wonderful and beautiful and amazing and special just as you freaking are, only because you're human. Only because you're human. You have an exquisite right to be here. You are the reason why our earth is here, you know? Like there's that nugget of truth of our planet being here for humanity to thrive that the Demiurge would hate if everybody knew that. You know, he would hate it. He would hate if we could just interact with each other in a way that was respectful and caring of each other and not fearful and paranoid. And that was huge for the recent pandemic that we all went through. It made us not trust anybody else around us. It made us very suspicious of everybody else around us. And, you know, and that further perpetuates not wanting to be here, not wanting to be human, not trusting other humans is really what the goal is. It's not like total control of the monetary supply, although people who are under Demiurgic and Archontic control do control the money supply. It's like that's not the Demiurge's ultimate goal. If something else was more meaningful to humans, then that would be the goal. So to wrap this up, I guess, you can tell if people in your life, like just, you know, anybody else around you is under Archontic control by how you feel around them. Are they draining you? Are they like sucking your life force dry? You'll know it if you're experiencing it. Are they pushing your boundaries all the time? Are they taking from you and not even thinking to offer anything? Are they constantly in a state of panic and anxiety and paranoia and or depression? And, you know, it's not like we have to like cordon ourselves off from these people. It's just important to realize it, to know it, and to be like, okay, I have to work on my own energetic boundaries so that I'm not leaking into this person's not leaking into me, so that you can fill your own cup, basically, is what you want to do, because you can't pour from an empty cup. So you want to make sure your own cup is full. I know that sounds super cliche, but when you do that, sorry, it sounds like somebody's coming to my apartment. When you do that, you get to a state of overflow where you can actually help another person, where they hear you when you talk to them. Because if you have somebody in your life that is just like draining you and, you know, you're like, oh my God, you're under the control of the Archons, like that's not gonna work. They're just gonna think that you're crazy. So the best thing for you to do is to be the stunning, exquisite, full of light example that you are, that you have the capacity for, that anybody who's human has. That all you need to do essentially, and I know this is like very cliche again, you have to work on your own frequency. You literally have to get out there, touch grass, and connect with nature. Because when you connect with nature and you connect with earth, you connect back to your baseline, you ground, and you are able to, it's like just the waters settle and you can really see clearly, and you can go, you know what? Maybe everything's not that bad. You know, you get to a state of neutrality. And then once you're in a state of neutrality, you can, you know, continue to connect with our planet, continue to connect with Gaia-Sophia, who is, you know, the reason why you're here. And we are the reason why she's here. You know, it's a beautiful relationship that we have with our goddess. And the further that we can lean into the care that she has for us, the beauty that she has in store for us, we just naturally vibrate higher than where the Archons and the Demiurge can even reach us. It's like you just phase out of their influence. And when that happens, you might find that you have certain people phase out of your life. These are the people that may be under the Demiurgic Archontic control. Now, I'm not saying that they're just kind of under that like dark hypnosis. And, you know, there's a lot of people walking around under this dark hypnosis. Doesn't mean that they're not living life. Doesn't mean that they're not capable of relationships. It doesn't mean that they're, you know, not living. It's just they're living in a state that the Demiurge wants them to live in, which is not the fullest state that you can live in. You're not going to reach your full potential if you're living in fear and paranoia and depression and anxiety. That's where he wants you. That's where he wants you, in that state of, you know, not believing in yourself, of not believing that you're worthy, not believing that when you take the step towards what you want, that the earth will rise and meet you. And, you know, call it earth, call it universe, call whatever, wisdom, Sophia, the power you want to call her. She is there. She is the goddess. She's always been there, the earth goddess of magic. She's never going to leave. She's here as our planet. We're on her body, breathing her body in each and every moment, and we can connect with her in a meaningful way every single day, just consciously, really making the intention and getting outside and literally sitting under a tree and just grounding your body. When you ground your body, you get out, like, you literally lower your blood pressure. You get out of that state of fear and panic and fight or flight. And that's what, you know, you continue to do that for like a few days, and that's what allows you to have pronoia, not paranoia, pronoia, that things are working out for you, that there is a beautiful way forward, that your planet does support you in each and every way, and you're not being actively judged, that you're not a sinner as you are right now. You were, you know, born wonderful and born human. You're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's supposed to be perfect. You are wonderful exactly as you are. And you can have beautiful, wonderful relationships with people and with your planet and with yourself. And that is exactly what the Demiurge doesn't want you to do. Because it's so simple. It really, really is so simple. And yeah, I think that's where I'll end it. Let me know if you have any questions, any further clarification that you would like. But I'll include some other links below that I kind of, you know, talked about and touched on in this video, as well as, you know, maybe one of my meditations to connect to Gaia, because if you watched all of this, thank you. You're wonderful. And maybe you're thinking, okay, well, what can I do right now? Well, you can meditate with her and you can connect with her, and you don't need to do a meditation. You can literally just go for a nature walk, listen to nature sounds. But honestly, going for a walk through trees does so much that the Demiurge doesn't want you to know that. He doesn't want you to know that it really is so simple, because he wants you to stay in fear and continue to have more people in fear. And, you know, that's the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is to take away your humanity. And we've seen umpteen examples of that in recent media. And, you know, we have to think of why. Why would anybody do that? Well, it's because there is a force working through these humans that doesn't want them to stay humans. And so they do inhumane things to each other and to themselves. And that is the motivation, is to be inhumane. It just really doesn't need to be more than that. So yeah, I'm sending you so much love, and I will see you in the next video.